How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to yet another episode of the Living Legends podcast. I am your host, Bill from the Spike Feeders, and today I am joined by Azz from Go Again Gaming. Say hello.
Hello. How's everyone doing today?
Good. Doing good.
As well as Kel from Red Zone Rogue.
Hello, Bill from the Spike Feeders. I'm doing good. How are you doing, Bill?
Oh, I'm doing just fine today. We have some pretty interesting stuff. We don't have any. Oh, actually, no. Sorry, I was gonna say we don't have any drama to talk about, but there is a little bit of drama. I think it's maybe a little bit overblown. I wouldn't really refer to it as drama. Certainly nothing in the realm of what was it? The shreddening.
Yeah.
People were calling it. Like it's not quite that bad, but you know we do have some things to talk about today. We have some very exciting things, some speculation to throw at the upcoming set Dynasty, because there have been some things that were revealed that are quite interesting, I would say.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think before we do that, something that we haven't done, at least to me, it feels like it's been a long time. What have you guys been up to in the world of Flesh and Blood for the past week or so? Let's start with Azz. What you been up to, buddy?
Ooh, cool. So I've just been over the moon. Obviously, as the last Living Legends podcast dictated my mood for the last week. That was a brilliant reveal that I got from Chris Bewley. So I've just been wallowing in that over the last week or so. And if you haven't listened to it, then definitely go back and listen to it for people that are interested in content creation. It was an amazing chat that we had on the last episode, and it was revealed that I was going to get my first spoiler card, which is going to be a great time. So I'm already in the process of throwing ideas together for that. And speaking of which, I made a new sort of animation for the Azalea Cult series and sort of Go Again Gaming in general, which I thought was quite cool. It's like this new Azalea art that she's got like a flapping cape and it's all raining and stuff. So yeah, I'm just experimenting with a little bit of graphics over the last week or so, and just loving life with the confirmation of that, really. Plus, I did the episode 3 of the Azalea Cult came out yesterday as well. So that's going into all of the arrow attacks that she can use currently, and obviously we're probably going to get more in the future, which is nice. So obviously revisit that at some point.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I'm actually so pumped for your first preview card. I really want to see what they have in store for you.
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be fun. And I loved your guys' sort of genuine reactions to it as well on the podcast. It was just like, oh, I know these guys are close to me because they were happy for me when it was announced, and it's just like, it's just a lovely day. It really was. So,
dude, yeah. I'm so stoked that you're getting your first preview card, man. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think it actually says something about the set. It says something about Dynasty. It sounds like because they said it was Azalea tailored, that likely means it's going to follow in suit with the previous two expansion sets, is what they're calling them now, and that it'll probably have support for everyone. That's not a rule that they've explicitly said is true for all expansion sets, but it just has been. But I feel that that's going to be the same for this one. So, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I love the fact that they obviously we're going on previous podcast territory, but I love the fact that they're weaving story into what is a supplementary set. And as you say, if it's on the same lines as the rest of the sets we've had, it's going to be more support for everything. But the fact that they're putting story into it and the way Chris described it, it's going to be fun to see how those spoilers come through. So very excited, very exciting.
Yeah, I imagine some of the cards will be like very story heavy and story specific, and there'll probably be some like weird little just outlier ones, that are just like have nothing to do with anything.
Yeah. But, already on a wild tangent. Sorry, Bill, with the structure there. But
nah, it's good.
No, asking you what is new in the world, and you're talking about your first ever preview card. I think that's right in line with what I wanted to hear. So.
I have a question for you, Az. This is probably way too early to tell. But do you have any ideas on what you want to do with your reveal?
I don't know yet, because obviously I feel like the best sort of creation I can make is when I know where it falls, especially if they're very very hot on what the story is going to be like. I want to sort of make it so it falls into what they want to see as well. So it's hard to really gauge what it's going to turn out like. But I've already started making animated scenes with my own assets for it, basically.
Ooh.
Nice. Yeah.
So we'll see.
I'm the same way. I always have like a general idea of the type of thing I want to do. I'm like, okay, I want to make a high quality, or at least the best of my ability, like I don't know, like almost like a trailer, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
It's like a skit or like a little lore bit. That's kind of my goal, but I always have to be like, okay, I don't know what I'm getting, so I'll figure it out when I see what the card actually is.
Didn't you say as well that you sort of research music far in advance as well? Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for content creators to have a like backlog of copyright-free music to fall on, so you don't get demonetized or worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just have like a backlog of copyright-free music that is good. And then for like Uprising in particular, I had to get I wanted to get some kind of like more Asian-inspired music, and so I had to go like searching for that.
Yeah, nice. Cool. Massive tangents aplenty. Welcome to Living Legends podcast, everybody. Whee!
Yeah. Hey, at the core, it's just us talking about Flesh and Blood, right?
Exactly. Nothing wrong with that. And on that note, I suppose, Kel, is there anything new and exciting in the world of Flesh and Blood for you?
Not personally, other than like content creation stuff and all the news that has been happening, and just kind of keeping up with that. And we'll get into that, later, obviously. But personally, not really. I put a poll on my channel, and I was like, hey, what kind of commoner battle box would folks like to see next? And I put this question out because I did a commoner battle box video. And what a battle box is, if you don't know, and some people use this term differently. I'm using it to describe a set of decks that you have and you keep together in a box, and you can play them against each other, and they're kind of made to be played against each other.
All right.
And so I did one for Uprising. So Uprising, commoner, really, really cheap, like really, really easy to get into and a lot of fun. And it's kind of like this triangle, right? Like this rock, paper, scissors with the Uprising heroes. And I think it's a great way for new players to kind of get into the game, or veteran players to introduce new players into the game. Because I'm kind of doing like this series of new player focused videos on my channel. And I was like, I want to do another one. Which set should I do next? Because I want to do it by set. And it was so close. Like, I can maybe pull it up real quick here. But like, it was super close between Monarch, Arcane Rising, and Welcome to Wraith. Tales of Aria kind of didn't get a lot of love there, but it was way closer than I thought. I think Welcome to Wraith ended up winning out. Oh no, Arcane Rising's higher now. Holy crap.
Yeah.
So out of 658 votes, 26% WTR, 28% Arcane Rising, 24% Monarch, and then Tales is at 21. They're all at 20% or above. It is so close, like it's crazy. And the differentiation between the other three, it's 24% Monarch, 26 Welcome to Wraith, 28 Arcane Rising. So it's like 2% difference between the two. So that's super interesting. I guess I'm doing Arcane Rising. But
nice.
Yeah, so I need to build some Arcane Rising commoner decks and do a good old video on that. But yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Lovely.
Very nice. That's awesome. Yeah, unfortunately for me, I haven't had a ton of opportunities to do anything Flesh and Blood related. Things just keep coming up. I wasn't even able to go to our last week's skirmish. Thankfully, there's a second one coming up in exactly 1 week from today that I will be able to go to. Nice. And I don't quite know what my plan for that one is. I think I might just roll up with Aggro Prism and try to Vipox people out.
Do it.
But
We'll transmogrify again. That one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do it.
I don't know. I think the deck is super funny, and it makes me smile, and I think that's something that's very important.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Just a game at the end of the day.
It seems really cool, to be honest.
It's really cool, but what I will say, which is also going to be a fantastic lead into our first topic today, is that the deck is pretty high rolly. It's relatively RNG based on what you draw and in what order you draw them. And that's just Blitz as a whole, wouldn't you both agree?
No, that is my take, and that's because it's a freaking card game, and all card games are RNG by the very nature of being a card game.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Fully agree there. Yeah. If you if it wasn't completely obvious on the other side of the speaker here, I'm on the microphone and our listeners are listening through speakers is what I was trying to say there. That was very sarcastic. There's been a decent amount of discussion around the introduction of Blitz as a format for the World's Championships.
Yeah.
And people are not quite as happy about that because previously the format was, and correct me if I'm wrong, CC and draft. There were, I think it was like a round of each or alternating 2 rounds of each. I don't quite remember. And I've never been to Worlds, so, But it was, a way to test people to make sure that they were well-rounded. They were good at Flesh and Blood, but they were good at what was supposed to be all aspects of Flesh and Blood.
Mm.
And, now that Blitz has become a format that it seems that a lot of people are gravitating towards, and there were already sanctioned events for Blitz in the skirmishes, and, you could have your local game stores do their armory events, and they could be whatever format they were. And the main 3 that they had available were CC, Draft, and Blitz. Blitz was already a thing that people were getting prizes for and playing in like a semi-competitive thing. And I guess, when you scale it up to larger events with larger prize pools, then people are saying, because of the lower health total, because of, one-ofs being technically more impactful in a format where you only have 2/3 of the deck size, that it's easier to high roll your opponent, it's easier to get high rolled, and that doesn't seem inherently fair. I would disagree. I think that right now some of the cards that are being printed more with CC in mind, and that maybe there are some balances that are, just a little bit off between the 2 formats, but I wouldn't say as a whole that Blitz is less competitive than CC just because it is Blitz. I don't think that that's a totally fair comparison, but I know that both of you, actually, when we were doing the preamble for this, had some thoughts that you wanted to put on the page. So I'm going to open up the floor. Let's start with Azz. I just always default to Azz because your name comes first in the alphabet.
Well, that's why my mum chose the name, you see. It was AARON, so yeah. I mean, I'm not versed enough in the competitive scene to understand why the people are getting frustrated at this in regards to Blitz as being is it more varied or less varied? Because you've got a smaller deck, so surely you'll be able to draw into the things you want to draw into more often, right? If it's lesser.
Yeah.
I don't understand where that argument comes from. If you're playing with a smaller deck, surely you'll be able to draw the cards you need in order to win.
I think the argument isn't for your consistency. I think it's the consistency that your opponent is going to high roll the cards that they need to kill you faster than in CC.
Right.
I think that's what they mean. Yeah.
But that's your job to deal with, isn't it? It's your job to deal with that. So, I mean, again, I'm not, in this podcast, people were aware, just in the general Flesh and Blood universe, I'm not competitive. But my analogy basically is based on sports, the sports world. So I'm a massive tennis fan, right? So if you're a pro tennis player, you don't turn up to training and say to your coach, "Nah, I'm not going to work on my drop shots today because that's not my style. I'm not going to bother doing those sorts of shots today. I'm not going to bother doing that sort of format today because obviously it's not relevant." In order to be the best player, the best tennis player, you have to practice all of your skills. You have to practice all of the shots, because if you want to win tournaments, you want to win Grand Slam finals, you have to use every shot to your disposal, and that's what Worlds is doing now. And this is the pinnacle of that. This is the Grand Slam of the Flesh and Blood world. So you need to hone all of those skills. And I'm comparing this to sports because the people that are in this situation, they are the pro players, right? So they're the ones that have to be, doing this they want to make money from the cash tournaments. They want to get the prizes. They want to get all that sort of thing. And as a professional, you need to navigate these changes. That's what your job is. You have to do that. So that's what my analogy is. You have to sort of master all of the aspects to it in order to win something of this prestigious value, basically, and that is the World Championship. So that's my analogy of it. But people that are meta heads are probably gonna shoot me, but who cares?
Hey man, I agree with you 100%, because
Lovely old job.
we were talking a lot before the podcast, as we normally do, but I was just saying, it's the Flesh and Blood World Championship. It's not the Classic Constructed World Championship. You need to be the best in the world at Flesh and Blood, not just Classic Constructed, and that, whether you like it or not, includes Blitz and Limited, specifically Draft. I don't think they're doing Sealed. So to be the best in the world, you need to be the best in the world at Classic Constructed, at Blitz, and at Draft, not just Classic Constructed. And James, it was really interesting because James White actually dusted off his old Twitter account and came out and responded to a lot of folks, which I thought was very interesting. And one that I like in particular, and I'm going to paraphrase this just a little bit, but he says, Blitz is the most played Flesh and Blood format in the world. World Champions, or World Champs, is a reflection of elite skill across all three of Flesh and Blood's premier formats, and a showcase that is inclusive of the preferred/only format of many fans following along. And that's basically what it is. And I agree, Worlds, even if James didn't say this, I think Worlds, like Azz said, should be, a showcase of all of the aspects of the Flesh and Blood competitive scene. And to be considered the best in the world, you have to be the best at all of the aspects, not just whatever one that you like the most, which in most of the people, in this case, happens to be Classic Constructed. So that's where I stand a little bit on that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's exactly the same as well. I'm going to make another tennis analogy here. On a normal sort of pro tour level event, it's best of 3 sets in a tennis game. On a Grand Slam final, it's the best of 5 sets. So you have to go the extra distance in order to win the Grand Slam, which is the biggest prestigious, tournament prize you can get in tennis. So again, I'm making that analogy because there's 2 different formats in tennis. There's the Pro Tour and then there's the Grand Slam, and those work differently. So I'm using sports analogies because if you are a professional player, you should be thinking about these things. You should be thinking about, little changes here and there, little variances, and you have to be good at the whole world of Flesh and Blood. Even UPF, scrub up on UPF because there's going to be a pod of 4.
No, there's not going to be UPF.
No, there's not going to be a UPF. No. But I'm just, I just need to add some humour in there. But
sun kiss, moon wish.
Sun kiss, moon wish.
That'd be amazing, man.
Yeah, it would be.
I want to do coverage for UPF so bad. That'd be so cool.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that'd be so much fun. He just played a moon wish. Does he have the sun kiss?
Yes. Oh my God. You can just do the walk-ins and everything, couldn't you? Like the players walking through, crowds and everything. You could just do the whole shebang with a UPF game.
Yeah.
The whole sort of showcase of it would be hilarious. It's not taken seriously at all. It's just probably even staged to a degree. But that that's what that's what entertainment is.
That actually sounds phenomenal in a way, but it's almost like a not what's that. What was that old show on Spike TV that was basically Wipeout, but the original version of Wipeout?
Are you talking about like? Well, there's the most extreme elimination challenge.
Yes, MXC.
Which was originally derived from Takeshi's Castle in Japan.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Like, Takeshi's Castle was like, it was a show for fun. It was like Wipeout. But then MXC came along and took that, which was like, it was already a joke, and they made even more fun of it.
Yeah.
Not to say that Blitz or Flesh and Blood is a joke at all, but you look at it and it's like, it's good TV. If there was just, they were doing coverage at an event and then all of a sudden there's this UPF game and there's like somebody brings out a Yorick and the commentators are like, oh well, that was a really good call from this player here. Now they're all shuffling their decks together. That'd be really funny.
It would be
that'd be so good. And you know what? I want to defend Blitz a little bit too, because I think a lot of the folks who are, but by the way, this is me taking a step back and then taking a step forward with a soapbox. I think Blitz is, a lot of folks I've seen are like, oh, it's an RNG format, whatever that means. And well, I think we already talked about what that they think that means. And that it only lasts like one turn and then you're dead, right? I don't think that's true, and anyone who says that probably hasn't played Blitz in a few months. The games can be fast, and it can end on like turn maybe 4, but it's not like a one turn, kind of thing unless your opponent has like a god hand, right?
Yeah.
So like there is counterplay. You can always also play a control deck. You don't always have to play, aggro. So like you can play Oldhim. Like Oldhim is good in Blitz. Like, yeah. So like, I think a lot of folks, not everyone. There are some legitimate arguments out there and concerns, but I do see a lot of folks either parroting other people or on this assumption that Blitz is like a OTK format where everyone's playing Benji and they're gonna kill you on turn 1 and you can't do anything about it, which is like not true. And then also Benji's like not even a tier 1 deck. He's good, but he's heavily countered.
And that's the thing. Like and I think we've mentioned this on the podcast before. Playing the aggro deck is much easier than playing a deck that requires more setup, or I don't necessarily want to say thought, but especially when you're going through a long tournament, having the aggro deck be in your toolkit and having your games end quicker so that you can sort of recuperate between rounds, like that is an actual factual benefit to playing these decks. So it's kind of twofold in that way, where the decks are pretty linear when they're aggro decks, so you don't have to think a whole lot. The games end faster, so you can like actually have time outside of the game to do other stuff, get more water, etc. Which then makes it so that your later rounds are also, technically easier, as opposed to if you brought a full control deck like Oldhim to a long tournament and you had, instead of however many rounds, like 8 rounds that lasted 20 minutes each, you had 8 rounds that lasted 50. Like you're not going to be playing quite as well later on.
And the cynic in me, and I try to keep him stamped down, but sometimes he just bubbles up to the surface, man. Like, the cynic in me is like, I bet a decent number of these folks are just like, I haven't played Blitz in like 6 months, so I'm not prepared for it at all, so it should not be at the Pro Tour. Like, I have some feeling that's, or like, I don't like Blitz, therefore it shouldn't be at the Pro Tour. Yeah. I think that's also a non-zero amount of folks. Not everyone, like I said. I think some people have some legitimate arguments about it, but I don't know, man.
I think if you're
worlds, man.
Exactly, yeah. And if you're in that headspace, if you're in that professional vibe where you're competing in these tournaments to win money, to progress your life, then yeah, you need to have that mental state where you have to adapt to everything. Flake said it in a tweet earlier. You have to adapt to these things. You have to evolve with how the game is progressing, and the World Championship, we've said it multiple times already, is the pinnacle of Flesh and Blood. So you have to sort of expect it to a degree that all of their showcased formats and the format that's been played the most is going to be prevalent in the in taking it home. So
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it really.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if there's much more to say, but yeah, just like I said, it's a world championship, and I think to be considered the best player in the world, you need to be the best at all of the premier formats. And that's just how it is.
I would say so too.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And yeah, I do feel like there is some amount of, there are people that don't like Blitz that I've talked to that don't like Blitz because, they've played it, they have a lot of experience with it, and they're like, I just prefer CC or I prefer draft or whatever. But when you bring in your preferences to dictate how the game should be structured, especially at a high level, then I don't know. It's like, especially at Worlds, like I prefer CC and I don't like draft. Is my opinion then that I think draft shouldn't be included in Worlds? Like, I don't know. It feels like, I don't know. It feels like there's a lot of arguments being made that aren't.
If you want to be the best, Bill, if you want to be the best, you have to do the draft, I'm afraid.
Yeah, if I want to be the very best, like no one ever was,
then you have to do the draft. That's how the song went.
Gotta draft them all.
Once again, man, like the cynic in me, just a lot of the arguments feel selfish. I don't know. Just like, I only play CC. But I think that's the best form of Flesh and Blood, so it should only be CC. I'm like, come on, man.
Which isn't necessarily like a wrong decision, but it's when you want to start instituting change because of it that it sort of falls apart for me a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, there is something much more exciting that we wanted to talk about as well, which I had pulled up the information here. We're going to be talking about the reveal that we got. Not really a reveal, but sort of a teaser, a little taster.
Yeah.
For the Emperor of Volcor.
There he is.
Spicy hot boy.
Oh yeah, God, he looks like Xinjiao from League of Legends, actually.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's me being insensitive or not, but he does legitimately to me. He has like the same sort of it's the jawline, I think, is what's getting me there. But
yeah,
he's got a very well maintained like mustache beard combo that he goes over with like very fine razor,
Yeah. Oh yeah, this man subscribes to Dollar Shave Club. There's no way he doesn't.
Yeah. He's got sort of Iron Man vibe going on as well, hasn't he? Like red and gold and Tony Stark style.
Honestly, yeah, that like it's the red and the gold and the metal.
This is a mech. This is a mech hero.
No, Azz.
The mechanologist everyone was asking.
Didn't you see the sword? He's clearly a Runeblade. Because he's
got of course.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
You're right. Yeah. You're right. Because there aren't any other heroes that have even know what swords are.
I own a sword and I'm a Runeblade, so.
Oh yeah,
that's it.
That just checks out. I think it's on your driver's license too, wouldn't it?
It's right under like the corrective lenses. It's like corrective lenses, Runeblade.
Yeah.
I love it. But yeah, for this section, obviously there isn't a ton to go off of for this reveal. It was just the, as far as I know, just the splash image that they provided for the World Championship.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, but it still gives us some information that is very usable. Mainly that I think the last time we talked about it, I think I mentioned that I had a suspicion that maybe it was just Kano, which very much not the case.
Yeah.
No.
Everyone who told me I was wrong, give yourselves a round of applause.
Yeah. We do know a little bit about the Emperor. I linked a little thing in chat that I'll read. This is from the FAB TCG website. I think this is under the Volcor section, and then there's a little subsection that's about the Emperor. And I'll just read the first bit here. It just says, the Emperor himself possesses the gift of Aether, the most powerful wizard in all Volcor. He's a wizard.
Whoa.
Sorry to break everyone's hopes. He's not a warrior, like some people suggested.
Runeblades are kind of wizards.
Yeah.
They're like a wizard and a warrior.
Pretty much.
But no, he's the most powerful wizard in Volcor. In fact, it says, as the direct descendant of the royal bloodline, he inherited the throne from his father, already well versed in the politics of the court. Anyway, he's apparently really powerful, and what Chris Bewley hinted at last episode, he might be maybe a little too powerful. Chris was saying that that the Emperor is good, maybe a little too good. So that scares the shit out of me because Wizard is the one class that I'm like, if this gets too good, it's going to be what's a nice way to put it? Miserable. It's going to be miserable to just get blown up on your own turn.
It's enough just getting storm strided when you're presenting lethal. It's just like, for goodness sake.
Well, yeah, especially because they can wait for their moment in, some might say, a shrewd, resourceful, and cunning way. Those are all three words from the the blurb that we were just referring to. But they can wait until you've used all of the cards in your hand to present lethal.
Yeah.
And then in response to that, with them knowing that you have no way to defend yourself, then they can just go off. Like, they just have free reign for that.
Yeah, they just kill you.
So, yeah, like, if this is a wizard hero that ends up being, like, more powerful than Kano already is, if they are also a Blitz hero, which I'm kind of suspecting they won't be a Blitz hero. Something is just kind of speaking to me about that.
I think he's gonna be like Starvo, man. Like in every respect. I think he's gonna be like an adult hero, and he's gonna be busted as hell, and yeah.
Yeah, I think that my first I guess baseless speculation is that he will be an adult only hero.
Yeah.
An 18 plus hero, if you will.
NSFW hero, yeah.
Ooh, I mean,
not safe for NSFV, not safe for Volcor.
Hey, I already saw a lot of folks. They were like, Smash, when they saw this picture. Yeah, they're like Smash.
You would, yeah. You would.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I have a hot take about a sword. I both hope and think his sword is going to be a draconic sword. Not a class-specific sword, but the first talented only weapon. And it's going to be like some heirloom of Volcor, I bet.
That would be neat.
And any draconic hero can use it. So like Dromai or Phi could use it. And I don't know what it'll do, but it'll probably have to do with the draconic red pitch mechanic or something.
Probably red, doesn't it? Yeah.
So that's my hot take. That he's.
I was.
Oh, go ahead.
I know I cut you off. I have more baseless speculation, but that.
Well, yeah. I mean, mine is very somewhat based speculation. It's just that the Emperor, he literally says that he's a wizard in the lore, and that he's the most powerful wizard in Volcor. And so, given that he's the Emperor and what he looks like, he's probably has the draconic talent. So he's probably a draconic wizard. I would bet money on that he's a draconic wizard at least. Yeah, and then also the sword has completely baseless speculation. He might not even have a sword in the set. It might just be like a little art thingy. But yeah, what did you want to say, Bill?
I was gonna say that I think it would be neat knowing that he has a sword. It would then feel weird, especially for them to show this this splash art, and ostensibly this is the art for his card, much like it was, I think, for Starvo when they first previewed him. They didn't give him new art; they just had that, and then you could speculate however you wanted, which is what we're doing now. But I think it would be interesting if his sword ended up being like a mix between what we know a sword to be and what we know a staff to be, because he is a wizard. Which I don't know what a reasonable interpretation of that would be, but something where it's like on your turn you can attack with it, or if it's not your turn and you've played a non-attack action card, then you can do something else.
That sounds busted. That sounds.
Oh yeah, no, it sounds super gross, and I wouldn't want to have to deal with that. But because he has a sword, it kind of feels disingenuous to be like, oh no, sorry, he's got this dinky little wizard like this little wand. He's the first wand hero.
No, he like uses his sword. Yeah, it probably does something crazy. If it exists in the game, it probably does something crazy.
Yeah, it's I don't know. As you said, because Chris Bewley already sort of put it in our minds that he's maybe a little bit too powerful. I think that all speculation is good speculation right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All of it is factual. All of it could be real.
I mean, like
he could just have an effect that deals 40 damage to target hero, and we'd be like, okay.
Yeah, 40 damage, 41 damage, just in case you played Sigil of Solace.
just in case. And the only prerequisite to be able to deal the 41 damage is if you've played a red card this turn. That's it.
Yeah.
If you have a red card in your hand, you may reveal your hand. If there's a red card in it, deal 40 damage.
41 damage. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, exactly what it is.
And then take an extra turn, on the start of your next game.
Yeah.
Uh,
yeah, that's good. I mean, there is precedence for wizards using swords and other weapons as arcane focuses in D&D. This has nothing to do with Flesh and Blood at all, but
that is true.
You can get, and this is from my own personal experience because Sorcerer is my favorite class in D&D. Well, second favorite class. I like Rogue, obviously, but you can have an item called I think it's called Gem of the War Mage, and you can attach it to a weapon, and it becomes your arcane focus. And so my last Sorcerer had a sword with that on it, so he used his sword as his arcane focus, so I could actually get in and do battle. But then also I could blast people with like fireballs and stuff. So yeah,
that sounds like it sounds like a Runeblade.
It's yeah, I guess. It was more like if Kano had Talishar. That was more the flavor of the character, like what he could actually do. But yeah.
There's a lot of that. Yeah, I think a lot of us have seen like those sort of battle mage sort of builds going around, haven't we? So maybe there is something in that for this character. Maybe some sort of more battle mage style thing. Because the sword. Yeah, I mean it's not a focal point, but it's an interesting one to look at and think, this is a wizard, but he is wielding a sword. On Kano's art, he's just wielding fire. So what's the difference going to be, sort of thing?
I mean, like here's another thing that I thought of before I realized that it literally says that he's a wizard. I was like, I mean, regardless of what class he is, he's a wizard. Or regardless of what class he is, I think it's cool if Flesh and Blood started implementing different weapon types for specific classes. So even if he had the sword, and it like who's to say it can't be a wizard sword? Like why can it not be a wizard sword? There's no rule that says like wizards can only use staves, period, right? Because we have weird precedents for this anyway. We have like a scythe, right? We have dread scythe. We have a flail, like. Introducing more like weapon types and stuff would be sweet in Flesh and Blood. I know there's like already some weapon type synergy stuff, like with Razor Reflex and Pummel and all that kind of stuff. But like who's to say that good old Big Daddy Volcor can't have a wizard sword, and then he could like attack you and then Razor Reflex his sword.
Yeah. It would be. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Razor Reflex, but arcane damage instead.
Oh God! What are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh no!
That sounds like a rune. That sounds like a Runeblade card.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
After you attack with Rosetta Thorn him again.
Oh, of course, yeah. That's it.
When people were suggesting he's a Runeblade, I just was thinking, if he's a Runeblade, just imagine that guy using Rosetta Thorn, like. The juxtaposition between like this fiery dude using like basically a leaf sword is just kind of funny to me.
You can't use fire and leaf. It doesn't go. They're super effective against each other. You can't use it. He would just pick up the sword and it would just burn.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, this is like has nothing to do with anything. Well, it has to do with the Emperor of Volcor, but how many people do you think, like, how long do you think it's gonna take before people start calling him Fire Lord Ozai? Like, what's the over under on that? I bet it's gonna take, like, I don't know. After his official reveal, it's gonna be all over the Facebook fan page. Like, it's gonna be like just pictures of him next to Fire Lord Ozai, and it's the meme where it's like it's the same picture.
It's very similar, isn't it? Even like the if you look at Kano's backstory and lore and stuff, you know, you got the sort of the art which is not fleshed out art. It's more like sort of concepts and sketches. But even Kano looks like Fire Lord Ozai, or the guy that's sort of teaching Kano to draw the fire from the like the bucket, not the bucket, whatever it's called, the saucer. He's trying to draw the fire from the saucer in his story, and yeah, they all look like Fire Lord Ozai from Avatar. It is very, very similar.
I mean, everyone calls Fai Zuko and Dromai Azula already, so
Yeah,
That's true.
now we have. All I'm asking for then, where's Aang? I want my bald, skinny monk boy.
Mysteria.
I want Aang and Appa. Give me Aang and Appa. And
If we go to Mysteria and we get some dude who only attacks through wind, then there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Although that isn't like the whole point of Avatar. I know that he actually knows all of the arts, but he does wind art real well, which is why it's the name of the show.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
but yeah, I wonder how much of this is intentional and how much of it is like accidental. Like, if they're like, oh crap, it actually does look like Avatar, doesn't it? Like, I wonder, or how much of it's like, oh yeah, we like Avatar, let's kind of put a little nod to it. I'm curious on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of fantasy games or games in that space will obviously take inspiration from other games, not copying them directly. But yeah, there's always going to be, you know, it's a nice thing to chuck into a fantasy world, isn't it? Like a fire nation that, you know, is ruled by a leader or something. It's just a nice trope, I guess. So it's, you know, it's going to draw comparisons, you know, most of the time. But
Well, I mean, like, Flesh and Blood, the dev team does definitely put in like references to things. I'm just curious if it's like an intentional reference or if it's like a accidental one.
just pure plagiarism.
No, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that.
No, definitely not.
But like, I mean, like Fi having like half of his face kind of burned is like, I don't know, man. That's real close. That's real close.
Simply a coincidence.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
So yeah,
Looks
that's that.
Yeah.
I do have some breaking news just to interrupt for a quick second here. Apparently, in the CC Battle Hardened currently, there is a KO, and
What?
they won their first round.
What?
Wait, is it the one in Portland? The Battle Hardened Portland?
I believe so. Yeah, Battle Hardened Portland. Currently being streamed by Fable Hobby.
Yeah.
Obviously, the stream won't be up by the time people are listening to this, but yeah, I just turned on the thing, and he's against a Prism, and yeah, they're both 1-0 on round 2.
A KO? Wow.
Wow. That's hilarious.
Hey,
That's
Bill, your
incredible.
preview card might win a Battle
Ready
Hardened.
to roll. Do it. Oh man.
That's sweet.
He's so wild. He's playing Heart of Fjendel. I respect this man.
I mean,
Travis.
you'd always gain a life.
Yeah. It's just that's the play.
You got to play the Fjendel's Fighting Spirit too, so you get double and gain some life.
That's incredible. Anyway, I just want to.
Well, there's loads.
bring
Yes.
that up.
There's loads, isn't there? There's like Life for a Life and that as well that have sort of conditional clauses that if you have less life, you do stuff when it. And obviously, if you, obviously, oh no, KO cares about the sticks, so obviously you wouldn't double those attacks, but still, yeah, there's a lot of those cards that say if you're on less life, do this. So yeah, I guess that's a
interesting.
bit of a power play.
What's
Life for a life, scar for a scar.
What's the cutoff point for the doubling on KO? I don't remember. Is it 6 or is it lower?
I think it's 6 or greater, and it doubles on a 5 or a 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
So it won't be doubling like your Scar for a Scars, because I was like, yo, if you can like come in for 8 Scar for a Scars, that would be
that'd be powerful.
That would be pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then all have go again because you have less life than your opponent.
Yeah. Anyway,
but even
wanted to shout that out.
That's quite funny. It's just nice little side note, because it is interesting that there's a lot of cards out there that will get, because you're on a lesser life from the start. It's going to turn those additional effects on. So that's like, like a chaotic deck in the making for future things.
Yeah.
Or current things, according to this.
Yeah. When your deck can put out twice your opponent's life total in Blitz, then I just logically you expand that out to CC.
I gotta know how that first round went, man. Like,
yeah,
if he's 1-0,
out of it.
I hope he's not like the bye. Like, I hope he actually won a game.
Oh, that would take all the wind out of my sails.
Yeah,
he just got first round bye, so he can go in 1-0, and people are just freaking out, losing their minds.
He's got like what? He's got less than 20 health. He's got like
19.
Yeah.
Or 19.
Is it 19? I don't know. I haven't played him in ages.
I think it's 19. I think they punched him down by like 1 because they were like, balance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Crucible heroes have weird health numbers. They're like they're all over.
He starts at 19.
Going back to the Emperor, do you reckon he'll have a lower life total then if he's a wizard?
Ooh,
it's got to do.
Yeah.
I think the precedent has been set that wizards have lower life totals. So far we've only seen 2 wizards, but both of them had lower than 20 life totals. So
they're squishy. Wizards are squishy.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
it does make sense.
I would imagine, and I kind of hope this is the case too, that they follow like MMO or D&D logic, like cloth, leather, plate logic, where like all of the clothies, like wizards and clerics and necromancers, they all have like lower health. I think that'd be kind of like a cool little flavor thing. And maybe balance too, but like they're squishy, so they have less health.
Yeah,
definitely.
How much less health? I don't know. I could see him being as low as Kano.
Yeah.
It'd be crazy if he was lower. Like, what if he was like 30 health, but like disgustingly powerful?
Yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting. That's just pure burn them all style, but he's gonna have really really low health.
He's an adult hero that starts at 20 life.
Yeah,
like, let's go.
Yeah.
Just imagine starting at 20 health, like once again getting like the flavor. You got to be like a decrepit old man. Like you start at 20 when everyone else is at 40.
Yeah, like you got a bonking sword.
Yeah.
Just bash him with your cane, Scrooge. Oh man.
Yeah. God, I really hope that I don't remember when the preview season starts, but I hope we see stuff soon.
So, we do have, this is actually some relevant information for the people listening and not speculation. We will have a mini preview on August 30th. So, that is going to happen.
Right.
Cool.
So, we will see. It might be the official like reveal of Dynasty as a set. Like, oh, this is Dynasty, this is the flavor, yada yada, this is what we're doing. Kind of like how they did with Uprising. And
they'll, like show like with Everfest, it told us how many of each card was in the set and like the MSRP and stuff like that reveal, or just the overall like flavor reveal.
We might get both. Like we might get like the flavor reveal and then also like here's the product sheet or whatever. Because it just says like on the website, it just says like Dynasty did it say Dynasty preview August 30th? I don't have to pull up the website, but I imagine it's gonna be a big one. And then remember, Chris also said that it sounds like they want to be doing something similar to how they did Uprising, and that, you know, an Uprising had Icelander's Journey, which was like this, you know, kind of like a little sneak preview thing that they added on to it over the course of like a week or so. So it sounded, based on what Chris said, that they're going to be doing something similar for Dynasty. I don't think that's what this next thing is. I think this next thing is more of an overarching, you know, kind of thing. But I expect to see from it, I expect to see some art. I expect to see a little bit of the story and a product sheet, at least. Oh, it says Dynasty Info, August 30th. Yeah, so those are the things I expect to see from that.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. It's going to be sweet.
Really, really looking forward to that.
The art we've seen so far, and this is actually something that Az wanted to talk about. The art we've seen so far has been very fastidious.
What does that mean?
Like a festival atmosphere. There's like fireworks and the lanterns and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So obviously, it looks like there's a piece of art that looks like there's a load of fireworks in like a tray. So it's going to be like some sort of celebration or festivities that you said there. I think it'd be quite cool because there's a game that I like. A lot of people probably know what I'm talking about. Final Fantasy VIII. Mm-hmm. And it sort of invokes memories of that because in Disc 1, I think it's Sorcerer Ida, who's being controlled by Ultimecia or something like that. I can't remember the storyline, but she's the new sorceress, and she's having this massive celebration. And there's a mission where you and your party go to this event, and it's down to the sniper to shoot her while she's out in the open. She's got no guards or anything. She's out in the open. She's on this big parade. And that's the storyline. That's the mission. It's up to this assassin guy or a sniper in the game to shoot and kill the sorcerer. And I think that could be I'm just spitballing ideas here, but I think that could be a good way of bringing in Cult of Azalea, assassin class, all this other stuff that we've had sort of drip fed to us. Bringing all these other characters in, and it makes sense because obviously there's supplementary sets do need to have everything for everyone, so there's going to be some sort of gathering, I imagine, in one place because it kind of makes sense. I'll just threw me back to that game, so I just thought I'd throw that in there.
You did mention a guy sniping, but that sounds awfully like an assassin to me.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, like, I like this this storyline, this like theme of them, picking their moment to try to take out the Emperor, and so waiting for this big festival where he'll be out in the open, and there's gonna be a lot of fireworks, so distractions and crowds and people and whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if they need to take somebody out silently and with a lot of precision, I think I just had a divine moment where I was foretold the name of the new Azalea hero, and it's got to be something where she can be discreet and she can work from afar and definitely take out her target. So I'm thinking Azalea, trebuchet expert.
Just a giant, massive catapult.
Yeah, trebuchet expert.
Huge. Just chucks a huge boulder at the Emperor of Volcor.
And her trebuchet is her weapon, and it's just called like Daisy or something.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Daisy, rock thrower. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's just like Daisy, something like siege breaker Daisy.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. But
oh my god.
Yeah. So if that does happen, I know I didn't make any bets with anybody, but somebody listening has to owe me something, a beer, or a high five, or something.
Oh man, we'll do a GoFund bill, because that is like a 1 in a million, man.
Yeah, there's very low chances, but it's not zero.
Yeah, it's worth $1.
It's not zero. I mean, we've seen not a trebuchet, but we've seen like ballistae. We've seen them in some of the art, so I don't know.
Battering bolt, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's if we think of if we look back at Everfest, if we look at the fact that that was a supplementary set as well, and all the characters were there for some reason, weren't they? Like Reinhard was there just rolling dice and riding pigs on Wild Ride for some reason. So it needs to, in a sense, it needs to have this. It needs to have this event in order to bring all of the heroes together. In Everfest, it was similar. It was a festival, it was a carnival. There was a gathering of people. Here, it's the new emperor gathering of people. Maybe that gathering of people or the gathering of characters is for a different reason. Maybe the assassins, the spider assassins, etc., are there to try and do something. Maybe the brutes are there just to have a laugh. But it's. I think it's going to be all encapsulating again. I think with everyone being there at the same time for the same reason.
LSS likes to drop little hints in their previous sets, and I think I don't know, man. I think Vipox could be a hint as to some of the stuff we might see in Dynasty.
Yeah, we keep coming back to that one, don't we? Like, we keep coming back to it. The Vipox, the only fool's resort to force is the flavor text from the spider. We have said it, like 4 times, 4 times on 4 different podcasts. I think it's got to be.
I just had an idea. Wouldn't it be so rad if, like, the whole thing is, like, these people trying to rise up against the Emperor, and they're, like, trying to fight him and yada yada, but they can't because he's, like, the most powerful wizard in Volcor. So he just annihilates them, right? Because you can't fight him one-on-one, and then at the end of the story, like, he just gets assassinated by some sneaky bastard, like, out of nowhere, like, he just dies, like, and that is like the reveal of the assassin character is like they kill the Emperor, like, out of nowhere. I don't know, I just think that's cool, or would be cool.
Yeah, like, exactly. Yeah, so there's so much good, like, little story points that you could thread into this, and that's why it's so exciting. But yeah, I think assassin makes perfect sense, and they've mentioned it already, haven't they? So we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, they literally said assassinations in one of the previous lore drops, and James White said one of the heroes, or one of the classes that we have not had from the lore book yet, will be in Dynasty. Now, you can say this is copium, because it probably is. This is me just drawing all the lines together, like the It's Always Sunny meme. Just drawing all the lines, and in the middle of the lines, it just says assassin. That's me, and I'm just like
Red Zone Rogue.
Yeah. I'm just like, from the lore. Here we have a line here, and I'm like, from Vipox, and here's another line here, and I'm like, oh, but they could assassinate the Emperor. Here's another line. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna Photoshop a meme of you doing that later.
Watch. It's probably like something completely out of there's like cleric or something. Watch, like, just cleric just shows up. Like a draconic cleric, and it's like one of those monk dudes from, like, the art. Because like we saw those monk dudes in the Uprising art. Or like out of nowhere, it's just like necromancer. That has nothing to do with anything. It's just like there.
Well, if the Emperor annihilates all the people that are sort of opposed against him, maybe the Necromancer comes and revives them all, and then suddenly there's the army of the dead against him instead. Anything can happen, Kel. Anything can happen.
I mean, that is true. That is true. It could take a whole, like, 180, and then there's a bunch of shadow
exactly
stuff. I doubt it, by the way. I really don't think that's gonna happen, but.
And then the necromancers raise the dead ash of the old dragons, and suddenly you got zombie dragons and stuff coming out, and then just this podcast has been funny.
Yeah, and you also have a draconic runeblade, and then you also have the shadow runeblade because chain got banned, and then we also have a light runeblade too because why the hell not? And then it's just all runeblades, like everyone says Flesh and Blood is anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all rune and blades. That's the name of the game. And then everyone gets their own flavor of Rosetta Thorn.
Yeah. Sounds like a game.
It's literally Rosetta Thorn, but it's a one-hander, so you can have 2 of them.
You can have 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that works out some of the issues that I had with Rosetta Thorn.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna balance.
I'll
balance it.
Yeah,
You have-
the longer that you're in a game versus a Rosetta Thorn, the worse it feels. So if the game ends faster, then
Here's a balanced Rosetta Thorn. You can have 2 of them, but they each only do 1 arcane damage. There you go. Jeez.
oh god,
Yeah, they're like Rosetta daggers, but they're assassin only, not Runeblade.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is in the weeds. We're in the weeds now.
We are in the weeds.
Drowning in the weeds.
yeah. You know what? I think that's just about everything that I had on the docket for today. I don't know if there's anybody else that has anything we want to touch on.
Let me scroll up and see what we wanted to talk about. I think we're good. I think we're good.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, honestly, I'm just really excited for Dynasty. I really like... So, I just love Flesh and Blood, basically. I was going to say I really like supplemental sets or expansion sets, but then I thought also at the same time, I'm like, actually, but I really like draft sets too, because I like drafting. I think it's going to be awesome. And I think, all the classes getting support is going to be great. Obviously, we know, like, Azz is going to be getting a dank Azalea card. So I'm looking forward to it. I think they could do a lot of different stuff in the set. And, they could start to reintroduce new specializations. I'd love to see specialization on equipment. So, like it's an Azalea specialization, but it's like a chess piece or something, I like to see stuff like that, and then make them really strong so they can bring up like underpowered or less played heroes. That's something that I'd really like to see in Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, definitely.
So
that's a good idea. I love supplementary sets as well, just because it's it's just more support for everyone's favourite characters. I know it's not draftable, which is a bit of a shame, obviously, but it's just more good stuff. I love board games. Whenever there's a board game with an expansion, it's just like, oh yes, more good stuff for the game I love. So yeah, it's definitely an argument to be had that supplementary sets are one of my favourites.
But before we proceed to the Arsenal stuff, I want to pose one more speculative question to you guys that I think is a little fun. It's a little cut and dry, but a little fun. So, what do you guys think the Fabled card will be in Dynasty? I have some thoughts about this, but I'd be curious to hear your thoughts.
Oh, yeah. I did put a tweet. I responded to someone about my thought about this. So, shall I go first?
Go for it, man.
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. I responded to. I can't remember who I responded to now. It was on Twitter. But I thought it would be like the court of Drakai, like a new landmark. Because there's a little piece of art. I don't know where the art is. I could probably screenshot it and send it to you so you know what I'm talking about right now. But I'm sure the listeners will know what the art is. I think it is just the landing page of Flesh and Blood now says Dynasty, blah blah blah, and in the background there's like a big sort of landscape picture of the Emperor and his throne and some people walking up to him like a big court. So yeah, it seems like a big sort of splash art piece, which. We haven't had a landmark for a while, have we? So I think we're due another one. Although saying that, the history of the supplementary sets is that we've had gems in them and not landmarks. But maybe this is just throwing it on its head a bit and just saying, because it's more in tandem with the story, maybe the Court of the Drakai will be the Fabled because it's part of the story. It's the landmark. It's where the Emperor is going to be. Blah de blah de blah. Basically.
Yeah.
I'm chatting a lot today. I don't know why.
It's good. It's good.
No, I mean that's what this whole thing is about, right? Like it's about talking about what you think.
Yeah.
So it's always welcome. But yeah, I'm just trying to remember what the precedent has been, because technically there is a pattern, but it isn't like a real pattern.
I think they're gonna break the pattern.
Yeah,
So-
I could see it.
And my reasoning is because of Uprising. Uprising, we saw a gem. Now, do we think we see 2 gems coming out of Volcor?
That makes sense.
I don't think so. I think they're gonna do I think they're gonna do a reversey here. Like, so Tales of Aria, we had Corsham, a landmark, and then immediately the set afterwards we had a gem. Like Everfest had a gem. I think they're gonna do a reverse Uno card here where Dynasty had the gem. I mean, Uprising had the gem. Dynasty will have the landmark. That's what I think.
I would
Yeah.
definitely like that.
And if like one of the key features of the set is the Emperor having, like as said, the court or the throne or whatever be the landmark, I think makes a lot of sense. Like,
Yeah.
I shared in our Discord. This is one of the images that I pulled from the website, and I think
Okay, yeah.
I think the image on the left could definitely be the Fabled card.
Yeah, it looks like it. Looks like he's like summoning something almost. It's like a dragon, like, well, it's obviously not a real one. Well, it could be, but it looks like the Emperor just getting burnt by dragonfire. That's the story twist.
It's like the equivalent. It's the Volcorian equivalent of air conditioning. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, this is what it's like for Az right now, by the way.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Stuck in my nan's studio. Well, nobody knows the story behind that, but there we go. But yeah, that's what it feels like right now. Yeah, just bathing in dragon fire.
And for those of you who haven't seen the image yet or whatever, it's basically a very zoomed out image of a large, very very large hall. Like like Tolkien-esque dwarf style, vaulted, cavernous, but like it's very very, there's a giant, massive dragon statue with like basically barfing fire right behind the throne. There are these pillars that are like glowing with these fire accents. It's very cool looking.
Wait, they're runes. I swear to God.
They're runes.
They are runes. They're fire runes.
Wait, runes, and the Emperor has a blade.
Well, no.
He doesn't. Emperor is so like overpowered. He's like so pumped full of aether. He doesn't need runes. It's like the aether's like in him. He doesn't need to rely on runes. He can just like
That's
do
true.
it. Like he can just like
wow.
sneeze fire probably.
Oh, that's gonna be his specialization. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
The royal sneeze.
Emperor's fire sneeze.
Instead of fire breathing, it'll be fire sneezing.
Oh,
Yeah, I
That's
really
an
like
edit you need
the I really like the equivalency that was drawn between this picture here of this Tolkien-esque hall, as you mentioned it, and Az's current recording setup. Because now I'm going to be very much looking forward to opening the set and being like, oh cool, we got a legendary, we got a fabled, Az's Nan's house.
Brilliant.
Beautiful.
Fantastic. For people that don't know the story, I'm basically looking after my nan's cat. Me and my girlfriend around here looking after my nan's cat, and my granddad is into his music, and he's got a little studio in one of the rooms, which is soundproof. It used to be my uncle's studio, who now lives in Vegas. He was a DJ, so he used to have this soundproof room where he could just blare out his music like, ding, ding, ding. And I'm sat in there, and it's very, very hot. So that's the premise of the story that we aforementioned multiple times.
You're surrounded by Route 66 memorabilia, if I remember
Literally,
right.
yeah, because he did the Route 66 east to west. So one of the fond memories. So yeah, it would be good to do that. That would be fantastic. We're going into Arsenal step territory now, but yeah, Route 66 would be one of the things I would love to do if I had the time and resources to be able to do it. There's so much to see in America.
Sounds like a good transition.
Yeah. But yeah. Apart from that, I don't really have anything else. I mean, this has just been a fun time today. There's been something in the air, probably just aether in the air.
We're all huffing aether copium.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you're just starting to get a little bit heat strokey from the dragon that's vomiting onto you.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, hey, Steve, back it up a little bit.
Please.
Oh, please.
He's like, fine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, take me to the bleak expanse.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
Honestly,
Me-
looking pretty good right now.
You and me both. You and me
Yeah.
both. You invite Icelander over. She can just kind of like, frosty it up a little bit. I'd be down.
Yeah.
I actually have a very stupid related, like semi-related thing to that. For arsenaling today, I'm
Let's
like
do it.
overly excited about finding a certain jacket secondhand. I was on this website called Poshmark yesterday, and just like looking around at stuff that I can't afford. Because they have like secondhand luxury stuff, so I'm looking at all these like stupid high-end tech wear things that are like thousands of dollars, even secondhand, and like that's a good price. And came across a listing for a jacket made by the brand Arc'teryx and their like sub-brand Valence, which all of the stuff from Valence is like unbelievably expensive, but also it's really sleek and minimal and like well crafted just to be like super effective and high quality gear.
Those sound like
And,
brand names from Cyberpunk.
Yeah, well, that like if I showed you this jacket, you'd probably agree. It's
Okay,
like
yeah.
pretty understated, but it does have that feel to it. But anyway, I found this. It's a down-filled Gore-Tex jacket that retails for like $1,700. And this guy was selling his. It like the inside definitely like you can tell that he wore it, but even then, after shipping and taxes and whatever, I ended up paying $400 for it.
All right, that's actually not
And
bad.
I
for a
was
nice
already,
jacket.
yeah, like a third of the price. Actually, yeah, no, a fourth quarter of the price. Is that how math works? Yeah, because like 1,700, and I got it for $4. Like,
It's pretty good.
pretty good.
pretty good.
I was already looking for another jacket anyway because I put on too much. I want to call it holiday weight, but it's currently August, so.
Yeah,
I know the feeling. Yes.
yeah, me too.
So yeah, I was already looking for a jacket to replace my current ones, and this is like better than I could have ever expected. So I'm pretty chuffed about that. Really looking forward to my next trip to the Bleak Expanse because I will be nice and toasty.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm just looking at them. I'm looking at them now. Actually, the Arc'teryx ones. When you said $1,500, that's Canadian, isn't it? Not actual dollars.
No, I think this one
Not
it's the
actual
Arc'teryx
dollars.
Valence Node jacket. Arc'teryx.
I'm gonna look this up too now.
Yeah, 'cause I'm
Valence Node.
So I'm looking at you got shell jackets and insulated jackets. What's the difference? Of course, this is hiking gear, isn't it? 'Cause you do a lot of hiking, don't you, and walking and stuff.
I like to look like I do, but no. Here's the jacket that I ended up finding.
Okay.
In a large.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
I
that'll
think
definitely keep you
that's-
warm.
Yeah, only 18.95 Canadian off of this website called End. I mean, it is new, obviously, but
I'm just trying to do the exchange rate because $1,800 for a jacket seems ridiculously expensive for where I am.
It's still
Do
expensive.
you use pounds GBP?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
about 1,200 quid.
Oh my god. Wow.
I'm like, yeah, no, it's still expensive, man.
It's like
Yeah.
fucking hell. Bill's an absolute baller over there, spending
Yeah,
1,200
no.
quid on the jacket.
But I got it for less than for like a quarter. Of that.
You got
That's
like
the whole deal.
Yeah, you got it for like
That is-
400.
That is a win. Fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm pretty pumped about that. Also, the website that I bought it off of, if it ends up being like more damaged than the guy was letting on, or like fake, I can actually return it and have it be fully like just rescinded. Just it's all
Nice.
good sort of deal.
Yeah.
So
Nice. I mean,
feeling good about that part too.
it's still pretty pricey for like a jacket. Like even like
Oh, yeah.
$500 for a jacket. Like I think that's how much my casting blazers cost when I went and bought them. I think they're both about like 500 each, but I got them on a deal. I got them both for about 500. Like I got them like 50% off.
Yeah, like do I need a jacket that's worth this much money? No. Do I want one?
Hey man,
Yeah.
like sometimes you just got to treat yourself, right? And like
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not one to speak. I buy like $200 and $300 anime figures, so Like,
Exactly.
if you want to drop like $400 on a jacket, like, man, I'll go for it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Everyone's got something, haven't they? Everyone's got something they want to spend money on. I think
everybody's got their anime figurines.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, nice. I hope it gets to you, man, and I hope it gets like I hope it's like legit. I think that'd probably be my main concern, that it's like, not a fake.
It's definitely in the way too good to be true territory, but again, I wouldn't have pulled the trigger on this if the website, if Poshmark wasn't specifically like, you have like a week to check it out and accept the order, and if you don't accept it or you want to decline it or whatever, you can send it back for free and get your money refunded.
Nice.
Apparently the seller doesn't get their money until I accept the shipment.
Yeah,
So-
similar to a little like sort of shopping app we have over here called Vinted, which is exactly the same thing. It's like people that have got clothes, but they want to sell them. They want to get rid of them for a cheaper price. So they're not necessarily fakes. They just don't wear it or don't use it. So they want to sell it quickly, which is why it's massively discounted. So it should be positive, definitely.
Nice.
Yeah. Here's hoping. Thumbs crossed. I don't know why.
Oh dear.
Fingers crossed.
That's like some Stranger Things going on there. Thumbs crossed, limbs snapped. Oh dear. Right.
Anyway, once again, this has been a very tangenty episode, but honestly, this has been a great one. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious to hear and read everyone's responses to us just like going hard on the Blitz thing. To be honest, curious to see.
Bring it on. Love the old job.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that will just about wrap up this episode of the Living Legends podcast. To sign off, once again, I am Bill from the Spike Feeders. You can find me at BillTSF on Twitter, as well as on the YouTube channel Spike Feeders FAB. That's Spike Feeders FAB. We do live gameplay content. We are doing currently a Goliath Gauntlet, which is what we call our series, where we take decks. We take a specific deck and pit it against 5 different ones. Right now, I think our first episode of our new Gauntlet just dropped yesterday, possibly the day before. And it's me playing an aggro prism deck that I alluded to earlier this episode that I'm very excited about. So feel free to check that out and like and subscribe and whatever. And to pass it over to Let's Go Kel this time. Kel, where can the lovely people at home find you?
Hello, lovely people. My name is Kel, also known as Red Zone Rogue. You can find me everywhere at Red Zone Rogue, youtube.com/Red Zone Rogue, twitter.com/Red Zone Rogue, Instagram and Facebook as well. If you don't know, I talk about a lot of card games, but mostly Flesh and Blood. I'm 90% Flesh and Blood right now. I have some really, really fun and exciting videos coming up about Flesh and Blood. So here's a little sneak preview for those listening this far. I've been having like kind of a newcomer-friendly sequence of videos, and I would like to continue doing that. So I had my How to Start Playing Flesh and Blood, I had my Battle Box, and I also want to do a Best Heroes for Beginners video. That'll talk about the most beginner-friendly heroes that people can start playing that are like good. And then I also have a really fun one talking about the best card names in Flesh and Blood. And both of those videos should be coming up in the next week or so. So stay tuned for that. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
And to round it off, last but certainly not least, the man himself, the Nan's House extraordinaire, Azz. Where can everybody find you?
Definitely, yeah. So last but definitely least with regards to subscriber count, though, I will say. But yeah, it doesn't matter. That doesn't make a person, does it? Let's be honest. But yeah, so exactly. So yeah, I'm Azz from Go Again Gaming. I'm on YouTube, Go Again Gaming, and yes, on Twitter, Go Again Gaming AZ. So yeah, I've always post a lot of stuff on there. But yeah, really loving the Flesh and Blood journey so far, and it's been a pivotal week for me. So long may it continue as well. So go and subscribe over there. That'll be fantastic.
Yeah, man.
Gaming on YouTube.
Didn't you just like pass 600 subs? I think.
Yeah, I did recently. Yeah, and it's the Azalea cult is to thank for that as well. So I'm glad that it's taken me a year to sort of really I've been doing this for about a year now. So yeah, it's taken me about a year to finally find something to sort of latch onto. But I think it takes, sometimes you have a little bit of, it's all part of the journey, and it's sort of finding what you want to do, what you want to talk about and stuff. So, but yeah, that's it really.
And didn't you also, not to advertise for Azz, didn't you also have like a channel rebranding kind of thing too?
Oh yeah. So yeah, loads of new graphics went up recently. It's like sort of synthwave 80s sort of style vibe, retro style. Because yeah, I love all that sort of synthwave cyberpunk style look. But yeah, another thing that's cropped up recently. Yeah, cheers for shouting that out. Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I gotta look after my homies, right?
Yeah. Yeah, good times all round.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, thank you, gents, for joining me on another spectacular episode of the Living Legends podcast. Thank all of you at home for hanging out with us for this fantastic episode. Be sure to follow us wherever it is that you get your podcasts. I think we're basically found everywhere. And that'll do for this week. So we will see you all in the next one. Have a good week.
Cheers.
Bye.